I see a world full of different people, each with their own struggles, fighting their own battles, and still manage to flash their own smiles. I believe that I may be as lost as everyone else, especially to those, like me, came from 100,000 miles. But I will take action by raising my voice amidst the confusion and the noise, by using the power of words to help those who have open eyes but never saw, those who have a mouth but chose not to talk, and those whose ears were cold but never heard. This is my story. I'm a 19-year-old teenage girl who grew up and lived in the Philippines. Our life there was simple. To be able to eat 3 meals a day was already enough. But simplicity didn't spew out expenses. So when I was 8, my mother went abroad to work in order to give me a better future. I was left in the care of my grandmother, who tried her best to raise me as a civilized person. Because of my mother, I was able to go to school in the city. That was when and where I met some people who showed me a different light, a different perspective. The coming of age years might have complicated things. I saw peers drinking alcohol, smoking, and partying, but those just didn't work for me. So I started writing. Poems and short stories, they made me feel better. I was able to express myself and exercise my imagination. That was when I saw the power of words on me. The way they were stitched together to form sentences felt like creating a weapon for peace, both for the one stitching and the one receiving. I knew then I have found my vice, something I'd be addicted to. People who knew me knew how I write. They said I was too deep and everything I said was like a riddle. They also knew about my mother and that someday I'd leave the country. I think everyone knew, but even I wasn't ready completely. It took me years to get to know who really those people surrounding me are, their views, their personalities, attitudes, quirks, and all. I found it fascinating that I was learning through them the differences of each individual. I love my family, and the reason is obvious. Friends, however, whom I wasn't related by anything at all except bond, helped me a lot in making who I am outside family boundaries. I admit I got attached to everything back home in the Philippines. My friends, relatives, school, food, places, everything. That's why when the time came for me to say my goodbyes, it was really hard. Upon arriving in Canada, I felt like being born again, only with a 19-year head start, and I have to do all the learning again. I was very happy to be with my mom again, because there was no more void in me anymore. I was whole. But then, a realization hit me again. All my life, I only knew what it was like to be left behind. Now I know what it feels like to be the one leaving. I understood my mother then. There were still pieces of me left back home in the Philippines. But here with my mom is my home now. I am embracing the change. Slowly, but I do. I am currently in the process of acceptance that I'm going to have to start all over. And it helps me a lot to write. I'm still writing. The one thing that still didn't change.